With wage growth at a standstill for the past few years, saving up for a down payment on a home has become seemingly impossible for many. But here are some hot tips, top tips to help you or someone you love do just that. Fox 29 lawyer and advocate Shari. I want to thank you for joining us.
Sure,
This really kind of stops somebody from planning to buy a new house, and hopefully we can get somebody out there with some
It really
good advice.
shouldn't, but you need to figure out the strategies for doing it.
Okay, so here's your first question. How much of a down payment do you need to buy a home in today's market?
Sure. Well, ideally, Mike, if you can save 20% down, you're going to get the best interest rates and the best loan terms. The problem is for average Americans, it would take about 14 years to do that.
Yeah.
So it's not quite realistic. If you go with a Fannie or Freddie loan, you can put as little as 5% down. If you go with an FHA loan, you can put as little as 3.5% down. That, of course, means, though, that you're going to need to buy mortgage insurance. That ensures the bank that if you don't pay the loan, the insurance company will step in and do it, because a lower down payment is considered a more risky loan for a bank to make.
Right.
But about 43% of Americans today are buying homes with mortgage insurance.
And a down payment to the bank says, you know, I've got this money, I can make these payments, I'm making this down payment.
You got skin in the game.
Right, absolutely. All right, so we're talking percentages here. 3.5 or a 5% down payment is certainly a lot to save up, especially for younger home buyers.
Absolutely.
Just coming out of college, paying student loans. What strategies do you suggest to save that amount?
Sure. Well, there's three basic approaches. The first is to cut expenses. And let's face it, we can all cut expenses somewhere. I prefer cutting the biggies. So, for example, I recently heard from a young couple who moved from a 3-bedroom apartment into a 2-bedroom apartment, and they had their kids sharing a bedroom for a year. They saved over $300 a month. That's how they saved up their down payment. But certainly you can look at your phone bill, your cable bill, Netflix, and figure out ways that you can cut. Every little bit counts. Right. The second way is converting your existing assets. So you got to look at everything in your life that can turn into liquid cash that you can use for a down payment. That goes to garage sales, selling items that you're not using on eBay, but also converting maybe retirement funds that you can do without a penalty. And then the last, of course, is identifying new sources of funds. That can mean a new job. I heard from a woman recently who works at a car dealership. She took a job part-time waitressing, generated money that way. About a third of people do that. It can also mean going to a state or local housing authority for money. About 20% of people do that. And for a lot of folks, let's face it, it means going to friends and family. About half of Americans do that.
Yeah, you know, the old go back on the old
Ask Mom
fallback
and
crutch.
Dad.
Yeah. Anything else, maybe some outside of the box ideas that you know of? Or
Sure. Well, the most important thing, I think, is to set up a separate account, because that's going to prevent you from maybe sneaking some little bits here and there from that money. Also, you want to make sure you understand exactly how much money you're going to need, and also check to make sure that the sources for those funds are allowable, because for certain types of loans, you've got to track the sources, and they have to be from allowable sources.
You know, maybe an account that it just direct deposits, it goes straight into that account. You don't see it. You don't.
It seems overwhelming, Mike, but you know, on a $200,000 house, we're talking $7,000 to $10,000. It's doable.
Yep. Chip away and you'll get there. That's Shari O giving that advice for us. Back to you at the anchor desk.